I want to make, X thousands of dollars or X million dollars next year. Great. Now, what are you going to do with that money? Why do you want that? What's the bigger purpose? Okay. What's the larger why to? I call it your why to. But see, when you have your foot on the brake, that is stopping you from actually moving forward.
This is Noah St. John. Noah is working with Hollywood celebrities, 8-figure companies, CEOs, and professional athletes. Noah is famous for helping his coaching clients make more in 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months. So welcome to the show, Noah.
It's great to be here, Jennifer.
Well, as you know, in real estate, it's all about the money, and so much is in the head. People want their dream home all the time, but they're just so stuck. And money is, again, as you know, we pick up these ideas, and we have like these fixed ideas from our childhood about what we can have, what we can't have with money. And it is head trash. And I know you call it that. It's head trash. And it's the number one reason that realtors feel stuck, as well as, quite frankly, their clients, buyers, when they're trying to buy property. So what is head trash? And what can we do to help these hardworking realtors?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited about this because I've helped so many real estate professionals make so much money. We're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars over the last 20 years. And so, as the author of 15 books, with my 16th book coming out, and someone who coaches people, as you mentioned, to help people make more in 12 weeks than they made in the last 12 months, this is something that I've seen for the past 2 decades plus. And it's something that psychologists call cognitive dissociative conditioning. Now, that's kind of a mouthful. So what I did was I just shortened it to head trash. All right. So head trash is a lot easier to say, right? So head trash, what is it? Well, the way that I teach it, and there's many, many layers to it. So it's not just what other people call limited beliefs or limited thinking. I mean, that's out there. And, I'm not saying that that's wrong, but it's really deeper than that. And it's more subtle and more profound. So basically what it boils down to, for everybody watching and listening to this program, it really boils down to the belief that says, I can't do it because. So for everybody listening to the program, I want you to think about your goals. All right. So what are your goals over the next 12 months, right? You want to make more money. You want to have more time off. You want to have more freedom. You want to maybe take more vacations. You want to spend more time with your family, whatever those goals are. So what that goal is like, whatever it is for you, and even if it's just to be happier, to feel more fulfilled in your work, whatever, it's not just monetary goals, not just financial goals, not just material things, but, frankly, more importantly, feelings, experiences, things that we really desire. So that's what is your goal, right? So it's kind of like driving a car, right? So think about driving a car. All right. So when you're driving a car, there are 2 basic scenarios that we see happening out there in the world. One is somebody gets in their car, pulls out of their driveway, drives around for an hour, and then comes back home. Now, that doesn't make any sense, right? No one would do that, right? But then the second scenario is you get in your car, you drive to the grocery store, you walk around the grocery store for an hour, get back in your car, and then you come home. Now, that doesn't make any sense either, right? You're like, well, wait a minute. No, none of these make any sense. But wait a minute. This is what millions and millions of people are doing unknowingly, unconsciously. The first scenario is they don't know where they're going, right? You don't have a destination. You're just driving around in circles. But the second scenario is you have a destination, you have a goal, but you don't know why. You don't know why you went there. Who would go to the grocery store and walk around for an hour and then get back in your car? Nobody, right? That doesn't make any sense. So why do you go to the grocery store? You go to the grocery store because you want something, because you need something. You need milk, eggs, bread, whatever it might be. So as simple as that sounds, that's really actually what we're doing in our lives, in our businesses. But so many people are doing the first 2 scenarios. They don't know what they want. They don't know where they're going, and they don't know why they're going there. So that's one of the things that I help people with. And that's what head trash is doing, because if you think about driving your car, there are 2 forces going on. There's the driving force of the gas and the restraining force of the foot on the brake. But did you know that millions and millions of realtors, of professionals, of entrepreneurs, of even highly successful people are unknowingly, unconsciously driving down the road of life with 1 foot on the brake? And that's what I call your head trash. And that's why so many people hire me after they've gone to all the gurus, gone to all the seminars, and yet they're still stuck because no one's taught them how to take out the head trash and get their foot off the brake so they can reach their goals faster, easier, and with far less stress.
So let's talk about that. You talk about one of the things they need to know is where their destination is. And so like as real estate agents, again, so often licensed real estate agents, you get a license and everything that you studied to get your license is very rarely the stuff that you're actually using to run your business or achieve your goals. And that's something, a totally different thing. And I've talked to, especially new real estate agents they thought what they studied for the exam to pass the exam and get their license was the stuff that they were going to use. And yet, like you just said, the head trash of having the wrong, not even having a destination, not even understanding where do you want to go. So like, for instance, what are some of the things that you would give as example of for a real estate agent, if they want to get rid of head trash and they really want to have a destination, a clear destination, because you talked about making the income in 12 weeks versus what you would make in 12 months. So now, number one, I know, again, like you said, with all the gurus, we always talk about goal setting, be specific, set a timeline. So what are you saying? How do we create that destination for a real estate agent?
Well, one of the things that I teach my clients is that just the word goal setting is a problem for many people. It was for me, certainly, and for many people that I've worked with over the years. And that's because, think about this. Do you goal your wedding? No, you don't goal your wedding. You plan your wedding. Do you goal your vacation? No, you don't goal your vacation, you plan your vacation. So that's what I like to say. And it might sound like, well, you're just splitting hairs, Noah. Okay, fine, maybe I am. But I think the human brain is very specific. And remember, this is from helping people literally make over $2.7 billion, my clients. And so the point is, you don't goal your wedding, you don't goal your vacation, you plan your wedding. So I would rather you say, listen, this is my plan, this is my destination. Just as simple as going to the grocery store. I'm going to the grocery store to pick up milk, eggs, and bread. That's what I'm doing. So what are you doing? Well, I want to make, X thousands of dollars or X million dollars next year. Great. Now, what are you going to do with that money? Why do you want that? What's the bigger purpose? Okay. What's the larger why to? I call it your why to. But see, when you have your foot on the brake, that is stopping you from actually moving forward. So think about this. For everybody watching this program and listening, think about this. Everybody who I've coached over these last 20 years has told me that they've, most of them have spent so much money and going to other people. But here's what happens is that because no one's talking about the foot on the brake, that they're still stuck. So, you're like, well, but Noah, I'm not reaching my goals fast enough. So what happens is you're driving with one foot on the brake. And so guru number one comes up to you and they say, you know what you need? You need to put more expensive gas in your car. And you go, okay, well, I'll put more expensive gas. You put more expensive gas in, but you're still doing the same unconscious habit. So you're getting the same result. Guru number two comes along and they say, you know what you need? You need a new set of tires. These tires aren't good enough. Buy these really expensive tires. And you go, all right, I'll try the tires. You put the tires on, but you're still doing the same unconscious habit and you're still getting the same result. Then guru number three comes along and they say, you know what you need? You need to buy a new car. Buy this really expensive sports car. That'll get you there much, much faster. You go, all right, well, I like my car that I got, but all right, he told me to do it. So you buy this expensive car, but you're still doing the same unconscious habit. So what I do is I come up to you and I say this, listen, did you know you have your foot on the brake? And they're like, no. And I say, well, do you know if you get your foot off the brake, then you're actually going to reach your goal a lot faster and easier with a lot less stress. And they go, really? And I say, yeah, that's how we're able to get people so they make more in 12 weeks than they made in the last 12 months, because we're just getting your foot off the brake. I'll give you a quick example. And so they go, well, where do I sign? I mean, it's literally that simple. So one of our clients, it's a realtor named Bill, and he had spent so much money on all these different gurus and seminars. I mean, literally, he told me for over 30 years, he'd gone to all these, different programs. And yet he was doing okay. I mean, he wasn't like, broke or destitute. He was doing pretty good, but he knew he could do a lot better. And so he heard me speak at a real estate conference, and he came up to me afterwards. He said, well, what makes this any different? And I go, well, you just heard me speak. What do you think makes it any different? He was expecting this like hard sales pitch, right? I don't do that. I don't need to sell it. It sells itself. So I said, well, what do you think? He goes, well, I've heard a lot about, finding your why and all this stuff, but I never heard anybody talk about my foot on the brake before. And I go, well, yeah, that's one thing that's different. Anyway, so he ended up hiring me and working with me. He ended up doing multi-million-dollar deals and then multi-billion-dollar deals. All of that happened in less than 12 months. And so he literally made over $300 million in less than 3 years as a result of just getting his foot off the brake. And so that's what I'm trying to say for everybody. It's not your fault if you're feeling like you're stuck or you're not getting the level of success that you want, or you're kind of plateaued. That's what we see a lot of people are doing okay, but they're just reached that plateau. Why? Because if you keep driving harder, keep pressing that gas harder. That's what they're all telling you. Just press that gas harder. Okay, that's not exactly wrong. But if you have your foot on the brake in the first place, why don't we just take your foot off the brake? And then everything becomes so much faster and easier.
So let's talk a little bit about that foot on the brake, because it sounds like it also means that you're talking about your daily things that you're doing. Because so often I have found that when I am talking with new agents who are just starting out and they're trying to figure it out, the foot on the brake, from my viewpoint, for the way you're describing it, sounds like it's the the old saying, the devil's in the details, the drama's in the details. It's in the tiny little daily things that you're doing, because you're doing little things that are holding you back. That's the foot on the brake. Would that be right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that leads to what I call my core 4 formula. And this is how you can literally change your life in less than 5 minutes a day, just using my core 4 formula. Now,
let's talk about it.
Yeah, we talk about this in my books and my programs, but basically it's very simple. Now, we humans have 4 modes of communication. They're called the 4 modes of human communication. And that is reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Those are the 4 ways that we humans communicate. You can read, write, speak, and listen, right? And so the point is, that's what I encourage people to do. So every morning when you get up, I want you to, number one, spend 1 minute reading something good, something empowering, whether it's one of my books or another book, whatever it is. Okay, so read something empowering. Secondly, I want you to write something empowering, all right? We teach people to use Afformations, not Affirmations, which are empowering questions, but basically you just want to write something good, even if it's just for 60 seconds and you're just writing, your positive Afformations, not Affirmations. And then the third thing you want to do is say them. You want to say things out loud that are empowering. And it might sound really silly, but you want to say that out loud, say it to your partner or just say it to yourself in the mirror. I mean, whatever you want to do, say it to your kids. Kids love this, and then finally you want to listen to them. So like on our website, we have free audios that you can download and just listen to them. And that's literally reprogramming your subconscious thought patterns while you're not even paying attention. You can be working out on the treadmill. You could be doing yoga. You could be even watching TV, and you can have these subconscious things going. We're literally reprogramming your brain while you're not even paying attention. So that's the core 4 formula. And the reason it takes less than 5 minutes a day is because I designed this specifically for the person that says, Noah, I want to change my life, but I'm too busy. I'm just too busy. I don't have the time. Really, you don't have 5 minutes to change your life, then I guess it's not that important to you, right? If you don't have 5 minutes, give me a break. I mean, then there's just no excuse. Now, if I said to you, well, listen, you got to spend an hour staring at your navel every morning, then I could see where you're like, come on, I don't have time for this. Fine. Give me 5 minutes and I promise it will change your life.
I like that. I like the 5 minutes. And I like the fact that you're going through those 4 different steps. So reading, writing, and then what were the other 2?
Speaking and listening.
Speaking and listening. I love that. Reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So you talked about affirmations instead of affirmations. Right. So talk about the difference between that, because I think most people are used to, that they hear so many, as you mentioned, gurus that are talking about, you just sit and look at your mirror and just do affirmations. And so talk about what's the difference?
Yes, absolutely. So what we're saying is this is something that I invented many years ago, over 20 years ago, called Afformations, 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 and you can Google that and look it up. But basically, Afformations is a method that I invented over 2 decades ago, where instead of saying a statement that you don't believe, you use an empowering question. Now, again, what we're doing is we're using what the brain is already doing. Now, psychologists call it the embedded presupposition factor of the brain. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying when you ask a question, your brain searches for the answer. So, for example, if I were to ask you, why is the sky blue? Why is the sky blue? Now, do you know what just happened in your brain? Your brain started to search for the answer, right? Your brain's going like, well, I don't know. Why is the sky blue? But see what happened in that instant, you couldn't not do it. You couldn't not ask the question. And so what I realized, and this actually happened, I call it the shower that changed everything, because I was actually in the shower when I discovered this. It was April 20th, 1997, over 20 years ago. And I said, wait a minute, why are we going around making statements we don't believe when the human mind responds automatically to questions? And I said, that doesn't even make any sense. And then I discovered and named this process, the method called the Afformations method, not affirmation, but Afformations. So instead of saying something like when I'm doing speaking engagements, when I'm doing private workshops or keynote speeches around the world, I like to play a fun game with my audience. And I like to say, okay, everybody stand up. And we're going to use an affirmation like the gurus taught us. Everybody say, I am rich. And everybody goes, I am rich. And you know what happens next? Everybody starts laughing. And I go, what are you laughing at? And they go, well, I'm not rich. And I say, but you just said you were. And they go, yeah, but I don't believe it. See, now that's the problem, isn't it? Right? We say these statements, but literally we're bashing up against our own brain, which says, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Right? It says it doesn't believe it. So using my Afformations method, instead of saying I am rich or I am happy, and your brain goes, yeah, right. What instead you ask a question. Why am I so happy? Why am I so rich? Why am I always in the right place at the right time? Now, just using my Afformations method has changed over 1 million lives around the planet. We know this because we track all this. We track this on our YouTube channel and on our statistics and everything like that. But my point is that just using that Afformations method is really the foundation of what we call the power habit system, which is the unconscious habits of highly successful people. Highly successful people are doing things unconsciously that they can't teach us. And so that's why when so many people go to all these gurus, they're like, well, they didn't say anything wrong, but they also didn't say anything helpful. I'm like, that's exactly right, right? They left out all the good stuff because they're unconscious. And so what I did is I actually made it conscious because I'm the nerdiest nerd in the industry. I'm kind of like the Sheldon Cooper of self-help. And so I had to just dig through all the mud to get to the gold, and it's like, wait a minute, they left all this out. So that's what people say, that my coaching starts where Think and Grow Rich left off, So anyway, that's what Afformations are. And you can literally start to change your life in less than 5 minutes a day.
And I think it's really important because by having an idea that you actually are willing to agree with, because I think so often, like you just said, that if you say something, I was just because I actually just put up some I am statements on my social media. And I was thinking about when I was creating the different ones to put up, I realized, no, I can't put up the ones I don't believe in,
right? Because
no matter how many times I say whatever, I am statement that is one I don't believe in, I'm just, it's not going to change until I decide that is truth. So I think that's a really interesting point. And again, I've never heard a difference between the affirmations, because again, so many people go back to Think and Grow Rich and those basic books that we've heard 1 million times people refer to, and it's so important. So I do, as people love stories, and I know you worked with celebrities, and I'm curious if you worked with any celebrity real estate agents. You don't have to say any names, but I'm just curious.
Well,
like TV personalities.
Yeah. Well, like I was telling you about Bill earlier, we had one entrepreneur who was making, her name was Sheila, and she was making $5,000 a month in her business. And, she was doing pretty well, $5,000 a month, not bad, right? But she knew she could do a lot better. And she spent tens of thousands of dollars on, all the programs and seminars out there, and was just, she'd hit that plateau. And then, after hearing me speak and hiring me, we actually got her to the point where she went from $5,000 a month to $75,000 a month. And literally that happened in less than a year. Another great story is of a CEO, because you mentioned I work with, 7 and 8 figure CEOs. And I was speaking at an event in Los Angeles, and a man came up to me right after I was speaking. I literally was just walking off the stage, and he grabbed me. He says, Noah, I want to hire you to coach me. You're the coach I've been looking for. And I didn't know this man from Adam. Ironically, his name was Adam. And so I said, okay, what's going on? He says, Noah, I'm stuck. I'm only making $4 million a year. Now I said, that doesn't sound like much of a problem, right? Who wouldn't want to be stuck at $4 million a year, right? He says, no, Noah, I've been plateaued for the last 4 years. We grew to 4 million in revenues, my company, and we've been plateaued at the $4 million level for the last 4 years. And he said, I've spent all this money, I've thrown all this money at it, hired every marketing guru, and we just can't break over that plane. And he said, as soon as I heard you speak about Afformations and head trash and your foot on the brake and power habits, everything you just said, he says, I knew inside that you are the coach I've been looking for. He literally hired me on the spot. So I worked with him and his company for about the next 2 years. In that 2-year period, Jennifer, his company went from being plateaued at 4 million in revenues to over 20 million in revenues. So that's a 600% increase in less than 2 years. And really, it happened because of what I'm sharing with you. I mean, basically, it was just this, what we call the inner game, right? Inner game is everything that happens up here that you can't see directly, but it affects everything that you do. But what happens is everybody's focused on outer game. They're focused on marketing and social media, everything that, you're used to hearing. Not that that's wrong. You have to do it. You have to do both. But if you don't master your inner game, then all this outer game stuff is like having a really nice sports car in your garage and there's no engine in it. It's not going anywhere, right? So it's the same with us. So, rather than looking at the vehicle that you're using, whatever business you're in, because I mean, just like you were talking about earlier, so many people that I work with, are in the health profession. They're chiropractors, they're doctors, they're dentists, or network marketers, or real estate professionals. But the point is, we're taught the outer game, and that's how you get your license, right? And it's like, and then you got in the world, and you're like, wait a minute, this is only like 5% of what I need to do. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So that's why, a lot of people have reached that plateau or are stuck. And that's why we're able to help them really get over that plateau very, very quickly.
Well, thank you so much. I know we're just about out of time, but I wanted to make sure that you share with people your website, where they can get your books, anything you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, you can get my new book. It's called Take Out Your Head Trash About Money. And that's at sendmeabooknoah.com. Sendmeabooknoah.com. The book is free. I've covered the cost of the book. We just ask you to cover the shipping. And if you'd like to book me to speak for your event, just go to booknoah.com. Also easy to remember. Who should we book? Booknoah.com.
That's perfect. And as you know, I'm always looking to end every one of my episodes with that yay. So will you say yay with me?
Of course.
Okay, we're going to do 3, 2, 1. Yay!
Yeah.